Good evening, you're watching News Mongolian World. I'm your host, Taner Khabatar. And for our top stories, President U.Khurelsukh now on official visit to Russia. Joint declaration on the 100th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations. The Minister of Finance B.Javkhlan met with Russian counterpart A.G.Siluanov. And for the news, stay tuned. The President of Mongolia, U.Khurelsukh, is paying his first official visit to the Russian Federation. He arrived in Moscow and was received at the Vnukovo II International Airport. The Ambassador of Mongolia to the Russian Federation, Weightlifting, and the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Russia, Margulov, welcomed him at the airport.
The one-on-one meeting between the President of Mongolia, U.Khurelsukh, and the President of the Russian Federation, Putin, was held on Thursday. The President of Mongolia expressed his gratitude for organizing this visit on the occasion of the 100th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries, even in these difficult times of the pandemic. U.Khurelsukh emphasized that it's time to further expand our mutual cooperation and bring bilateral relations to a new level. Both sides also discussed the project to build a gas pipeline through the territory of Mongolia that was mentioned during the previous meetings of two politicians. Later, President U.Khurelsukh also stressed the need to establish an energy corridor between Mongolia, the Russian Federation, and the People's Republic of China.
Later, the two leaders reviewed the development of Mongolian-Russian relations over the past century, exchanged views on future goals and priorities, major projects and programs, and reached an understanding on the roadmap for cooperation in the new century.
The heads of state said that the people of Mongolia and Russia have been developing close and friendly relations and mutually beneficial cooperation for a century, which is rare in the history of the country's foreign relations. The two sides attached great importance to the 100th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations and expressed satisfaction with a variety of events and activities that were held as part of celebrations. A wide range of issues, including politics, security, defense, trade, economy, culture, education, and humanitarian cooperation was discussed during the meeting. President U.Khurelsukh noted that Mongolia aims to use the advantages of its geographical location connecting Asia and Europe to become a transit Mongolia hub for trade, transport, and logistics networks, and called on Russia to cooperate in major railway and road projects. The parties agreed to continue the economic, technical, technological, and infrastructure reforms to improve the economic efficiency of the Mongolian-Russian joint venture Ulaanbaatar Railway. The two leaders also exchanged views on the possibility of deepening cooperation in energy, agriculture, construction, and oil trade. Both sides reaffirmed their commitment to protect the environment, combat climate change, deepen cultural, educational, scientific, and technological cooperation, and exchange of children and youth, cooperation in emergency situations, law enforcement, and border guards. President U.Khurelsukh talked about the Billion Tree National Initiative and expressed interest in actively cooperating with the Russian side. Later, two sides briefed the media on the results of the talks and announced that the joint declaration on the 100th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Mongolia and the Russian Federation has been established.
As part of the President's official visit, the Minister of Finance B.Javkhlan and his Russian counterpart A.G.Siluanov held a meeting in Moscow. The two sides talked about expanding bilateral financial and economic cooperation and exchanged views on the status and activities of the Mongolian-Russian joint venture Ulaanbaatar Railway. During the meeting, the parties also outlined their plans for further cooperation in the financial sector. The Ministry of Health reported that 262 new COVID-19 cases were confirmed today. There are no fatalities reported.
The Ministry of Health today on December 17th has reported that 262 new COVID-19 cases were detected in the past 24 hours after tests were carried out at PCR laboratories across the country. All new cases except 4 were confirmed domestically, out of which 158 were confirmed in Ulaanbaatar and 100 were confirmed in the provinces. In the remaining 4 cases were imported. 2,583 COVID-19 patients being treated at hospitals nationwide. Additionally, 4,711 patients are being treated at home. Among those being treated at hospitals nationwide, 974 are showing mild symptoms of illness and 52 are in critical condition. As of now, around 2.15 million people have had 2 doses of a COVID-19 vaccine, and 26% of the population has received the booster shot so far.
Our next story, documentary film on COVID-19 pandemic premiered. A press conference for the opening of the Red Line documentary film was held on December 15th. The documentary Red Line will show the situation in Mongolia since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic and will be broadcasted by several Mongolian TV stations.
The history of how the countries of the world have faced the pandemic has been documented in the Frontline and Together Strong films. Mongolian production West Mongolia also aims to show how Mongolians have been overcoming COVID-19 with the documentary Red Line. The main story in the film covers the period from June 2021 to September 2021 when COVID was rapidly spreading in Mongolia and the situation was getting worse. The events and figures related to the pandemic from November 2020 when the first local case occurred up to August 2021 are fully reflected in the film. The main and supporting characters of the documentary, the doctors, patients, their families, and other characters depict real people, so the author has written a film based on the true history of their work and life.
I'm very happy to have directed this film and to show how Mongolians and the government have been overcoming this pandemic and to make it a story for future generations to learn from. I'm glad that the movie will be released to the public. I would like to thank the team that made this film possible and the guys who co-produced it with Vast Production. We didn't want to miss the moments that showed true humanity in this battle of life or death, whether we were focusing on it or not. We ran after the doctors with our cameras as if we were ready for the battle because we never quite knew what was going to happen next.
The filming was carried out at about 10 organizations, including the National Center for Communicable Diseases, the Central Military Hospital, large hospitals that provided treatment for COVID-19 patients during the pandemic, and funeral service providing company. The film also has sign language and subtitles, making it easy for people with hearing disabilities to understand.
Now let's take a look at the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. The World Weightlifting Championships were held in Tashkent, Uzbekistan. A.G.Siluanov successfully competed in the women's 87 kg weight class and won a gold medal, writing a new page in the history of weightlifting for Mongolia. A.G.Siluanov lifted 109 kg in the snatch and finished second. She then lifted 141 kg in the clean and jerk, lifting 6 kg more than her competitor and won the gold medal. Our athlete lifted a total of 250 kg, while the runner-up Jabarova from Uzbekistan and the bronze medalist Koanda from Norway lifted the same total of 244 kg. A.G.Siluanov, who finished fourth at the Tokyo Olympics a few months ago, wrote a new page in the history of weightlifting and won a gold medal at the World Championships. She previously won a bronze medal at the 2017 World Cup for adults for the first time in history. After that, in 2019, she won another bronze medal and doubled her medal total. On August 2nd, A.G.Siluanov finished fourth place in the women's 87 kg weight class in the weightlifting event at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Mongolia, Norway and Brazil all featured on the podium, which was never happened before at the IWF World Championships and may never do so again. A.G.Siluanov was another deserving winner, going some way to atoning for her near miss in Tokyo, where she finished fourth. Master Shuichi, the head coach of the Mongolian national football team, has resigned. He was appointed in April and he led national team to a 1-0 victory over Kyrgyzstan at the 2022 World Cup and 2023 Asian Championship qualifiers during the pandemic. He has resigned due to the health reasons. Master Shuichi was appointed in April this year to lead Mongolia to a 1-0 victory over Kyrgyzstan in the final of the 2022 World Cup and 2023 Asian Championships qualifiers and coach the AFC Under-23 team online. The president of the Mongolian Football Federation Gambatar, board member U.Khurelsukh, Secretary General Tirwatar and Technical Director Bumochru received him, handed him a souvenir and congratulated him on behalf of the Mongolian national team and Mongolia and thanked him for his hard work. Japanese coach Masa Shuichi stepping down as coach for health reasons. He arrived in Mongolia for a few days to train club coaches and participate in the Golden Ball 2021 ceremony. A statement from the Mongolian Football Federation said, "On behalf of the Football Association and all of those who love Mongolian football, I wish head coach Masa Shuichi every success in his future endeavors." Here's the weather forecast of world's major cities. Well, that's all for today, and thank you for staying with us. We will see you next week with more news and updates. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.